Get your free inspection today. Learn more at groundworks.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was not a good day for both of LA's baseball teams. The Dodgers and Angels were swept in three-game series on Sunday. The Dodgers lost at home to Houston 5-1. They start a six-game road trip tonight at Milwaukee. The Angels fell 3 games below 500 after losing 3-2 at Toronto. The Angels are back home tonight against Texas. The Dodgers will have 3 players in the starting lineup for the All-Star Game July 15th in Atlanta. Catcher Will Smith, first baseman Freddie Freeman, and designated hitter Shohei Ohtani. Clayton Kershaw, who got his 3,000 career strikeout last week, was invited as a Legends pick. Michael Vick will make his coaching debut at HBCU Norfolk State on national TV. ESPN is making plans to televise Norfolk State's season opener against Towson State on Thursday night, August 28th. Kickoff is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
Here come the drums. At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it!
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to First Things First. I'm James Farr, and I am guest hosting this morning for Dominique DiPrima. As you know, Dominique and Miles are traveling back from the continent. They are completing their pilgrimage where they took a delegation over to the continent, something that Dominique has done every year for the last, 5, 6, 7 years or so. And perhaps maybe one day I'll have an opportunity to take it. But just listening to her reporting every morning, I mean, it really grounds you and brings you into the experience. And I know right now is Odell and I'm not going to call us the B team, Odell. I mean, we just kind of holding it down while Miles and Dominique are on this privilege, on this pilgrimage, man. How you doing in there, brother?
Man, I'm maintaining. How's everything? I know you holding it down, so.
Yeah, well, we doing what we can. Want to let the delegation know tonight at 7 p.m. I will be on Spectrum. Is it Spectrum News 1,
Okay.
SoCal, Inside the Issues.
Okay.
Today marks 6 months since the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. I mean, hit here, Altadena, and in the Palisades.
Yeah.
And I know you don't know, Odell. The delegation already knows, so I'm gonna bring you up to speed. I do host a show right here on KBLA.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
You knew
on
that?
Saturday. Yeah. I know.
You even know,
I know.
the day. Okay, okay. Conversation Live, Altadena Rising is the show of record where we are chronicling for the nation this fire. We're focusing on the roots, the recovery, the roots, the resilience, the recovery, the rebuilding, and we're trying to get to a reunion, as folks are adjusting to this new normal. And also I have an op-ed in the LA Progressive. I know the delegation may not know that I contribute to LA Progressive, and that's over at laprogressive.com. Just my reflections on what this past 6 months. How's it been sitting in the chair, Odell, for you?
I mean, it's of course eye-opening. I'm learning a lot more, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate what you're doing for Altadena and the residents there. Now, I was paying attention. I saw this maybe like last month on the news. There's a stark difference between what's going on in the rebuild for Altadena versus Pacific Palisades. They're already, that Palisades Village, I think Caruso is already, they've already started with that reconstruction from what I understand. You know what I'm saying? And it's like how quick they'll be, so how quick they are to rebuild in certain areas versus what's going on, in a predominantly Black Latino neighborhood. I mean, but I said again, I'm learning from what's going on with what the updates you're giving us.
Well, looking at Palisades and specifically Rick Caruso, billionaire developer, and what he's doing is rebuilding his investment, right?
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to that conversation we had earlier with Brandon Lamar, president of Pasadena NAACP. Resources gets you to relief, right? He certainly has the resources to affect that, but the state of California is listening. There's an Engaged California platform where folks can, it's intended to decentralize the communication, right? And to allow folks, this comes out of the Office of Data and Innovation, where they're allowing impacted fire survivors to offer their input, right? This is how we affect policy. This is how we affect legislation. And, folks, if you are under our voice this morning and you know someone that's been impacted, encourage them. Google Engage California. Encourage them to, it can only take them a few minutes to fill out the information, but it's a space where they can dialogue and talk about what recovery looks like.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like. What's happening on the pop culture scene? I know you're pretty involved, with.
Oh man, there's a whole lot. Man. I mean, everybody. I'm calling it the Diddy distraction.
Diddy distraction, huh?
That's what I'm calling it, because, everybody's talking about what was going on with Diddy, but I kind of pay attention to it, but I don't really get too involved. But there's other things going on. There's just a lot of shakeups going on in entertainment, pop, hip hop, all that good stuff. But this Diddy distraction is that's a whole different. You got people out there twerking in front of the courthouse when the verdict was read, pouring baby oil. That's like, come on, man.
See.
This is ridiculous.
This what we're gonna do, Odell. When we come forward, as we working out our guests, having some technical issues, hopefully we'll be able to connect him and get him into this conversation. But I didn't want to talk about Diddy. I swear I didn't. I thought Tavis's opt-ed said it all.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about Diddy.
Okay, let's go.
All right. We'll do that on the other side. Stay with us. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. First things first. I'm your host, James Farr, subbing in for Dominique DiPrima on your ancestors' favorite radio station.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
No, that's a whole different thing. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to First Things First. I am James Farr, and I am sitting in this morning for the Queen, Dominique DiPrima. She and Miles Lowe will be back tomorrow. They've been on their pilgrimage over to the continent. And have you all been checking out all of her? I know the delegation already listens. And I can't wait to hear more about their travel and the things that they learn, especially, and we're gonna talk about this Diddy case in just a second. But Odell, were you really tracking her when they went to the door of no return? Odell's in the booth, and he's my partner this hour. Were you listening to that? I know you pushing buttons.
No, I was behind producing it, whether they would go live or they would send me the clips. Yeah, I was here throughout the whole journey.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was an emotional thing with them going with. Well, they had about 50 or so other.
Right.
Yeah, and I heard it and I saw it. I mean, I heard what was going on, but yeah, I was pretty much here, not only pushing the buttons but producing it, making sure everything sounds right and on time.
Now, when you say producing, and I mean this we call it BTS. So let's talk behind the scenes, right? Like, first of all, folks, what Dominique does every morning for 3 hours is it's short of amazing.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, and it's not easy, right? I mean, Dominique is just a repository, of history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I'd match her against anybody, but when I heard Miles talking about it on air, y'all producing on the fly.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, no, first off, again, shout out to Dominique DiPrima and Miles, because they do this every day, and it's no joke. But of course, she would be her dad. Her dad is a legend. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So of course, she comes from comes from a line of, but yeah, as far as BTS, man, it's pretty much about timing. Just like behind the scenes, we have a clock we have to go by, honor, and timing is important. Setting the mood. It's almost like the element of hip hop with the DJ. The DJ is the one who sets the mood with what goes on behind the scenes here.
Mm-hmm.
Music is important. Particular clips. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then also just for me, sound quality is key. So they were on live, and there's stuff going on in the background and things like that. So, it's about normalizing the voice and just making sure that you guys, the audience, the KBLA delegation can hear them, and Tavis don't expect nothing but the best. We got to just do our best. You know what I mean?
That's right. So there's like, what, a 9-10 hour time difference. So sometimes they were live. They're live, like we're live right now, and other times they recorded some pieces.
A majority of the time it was recorded.
Gotcha.
But a lot of times it was like probably recorded maybe an hour before, boom, sent it over, or sooner than that. But yeah, it was a few times where we tried to make it happen live. There were some technical issues, but overall, we made it happen. We made it happen.
All right. Well, that's our BTS behind the scenes radio, like how we make radio happen here, and how Dominique does what she does. You're a music guy, and I certainly enjoy listening to music. I have a Saturday slap segment that I play every week on my show that really kind of is like messaging the music. But right now we're talking about a music icon, right, who for the better part of the 90s, late 90s, 2000s, early 2000s, right, was the soundtrack, right? Mm-hmm. Was behind so many different artists and hits. I don't think, and of course we're talking about Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puffy, Diddy Love, and whatever iterations of his name that he's going by. And I guess felon. I mean, I don't. It may continue to evolve, and there's been no shortage of rumblings around Los Angeles or around entertainment that at best Diddy was a hothead, right? He'd puff up sometimes, right?
Yep. That's why his name was Puffy.
Yeah, go off the handle, so to speak, right?
Yep.
What some may have thought was just kind of like the New York thing, that's just kind of how East Coast cat moves. We learned. Well, we saw.
Yeah.
I don't think it's learned. We saw with our own eyes that videotape that was that was made public from the hotel here in Los Angeles of him viciously assaulting, dragging, and kicking Cassie Ventura.
Yeah.
His former love interest. I'm not sure. Vic. I think we can't call her Vic.
I mean, well, people. Well, that's a whole nother conversation. Look, man, there's news coming out now where they're saying, and I don't want to give too many people. I'm not going to say the person's channel because I don't really rock with the person. But I mean, me diving into this whole situation, I've gotten a lot of insight from people who were there, like Jing Dill. You know, he's a I ain't gonna say a good buddy, but he's a friend of mine now, and you know, he came out and said there's going to be a lot more other charges in the future, and then Cassie is actually going to be implicated as well. So yeah, she was a victim, but there's someone coming out now saying that she was complicit and she was with it, and he's suing her too. He's suing Diddy and he's suing her. He allegedly had received some, I try to, you know, edit myself, but STDs essentially. It's this whole, but the whole Diddy stuff, man, I'm just disgusted because it's I get it, and I heard what Tavis said in his editorial where they will try to throw anything at a black man and see what sticks. I get that. But people behind the scenes, we kind of knew Diddy's get down for years. I was surprised that the situation with Suge Knight came up. There was an interaction between, well, alleged interaction where Puffy, Diddy was in L.A. He heard Suge was down on Sunset, and he allegedly pulled up. But I mean, you know, nothing happened. But he was ready to, you know, do some things to Suge. People know in the industry that, you know, Puffy is, you know, he is what he is. But here's my thing. I'm looking at something now, and they said that the people he was locked up with, they gave him the other inmates gave him a standing ovation after he beat the Fed RICO charges. I don't know if he deserves a standing ovation. And another thing, I'm gonna say this, and I don't want to cross the line. I'm gonna keep it just as what do you call it, politically correct as possible. Matt Gaetz. You know who Matt Gaetz is, right?
I don't.
Okay, Trump was going to appoint him attorney general.
Yes.
And he had some charges. He had some crazy charges on him, and those charges, assault, sexual assault. You know, I try to edit myself. I'm not trying to, you know.
You online? We ain't online.
No. But still, you know, it has some involved with some minors or something like that, right? He went on his podcast comparing Diddy's situation because Diddy got hit with the Mann Act. He went on his podcast and compared Diddy to the likes of Jack Johnson and Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King, because, you know, they were under surveillance. Martin Luther King wasn't necessarily hit with the Mann Act, but this guy Matt Gaetz is like campaigning or doing some type of dog whistle to black Republicans or black male Republicans because he's trying to get some attention. It's sick. Like,
I won't conflate or even, you know, I got to push back from that. I mean, Gaetz was accused of, or allegedly, minors are involved.
Yeah.
Right? And at least as of now, we don't see that in the Combs case, right? These were adults. Doesn't make it any make it right, you know. But again, let's just be clear. Cassie Ventura has been adjudicated to be a victim.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think it's safe that whichever turn this takes going forward. I think it is, regardless to what people think, whether she chose to be there or was coerced to be there or was afraid to be in there.
Yeah.
A jury has decided that she's a victim. So
and I'm going to say this too. I'm not. I just brought up the fact that there were going to potentially be some new charges, but no, what happened to her was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She was a victim just all the way out through. She was hired by Diddy. She was one of his artists, and he took advantage of her, definitely. So yeah, no, I'll go on record and say, yeah, that, she's a victim for sure.
And reading some of I'm reading some of the other stuff. They said Combs did receive a standing ovation when he returned back to, I guess, his pod or the detention center from the inmates. I don't, I'm not qualified to opine on beating a RICO charge.
Yeah.
I'm not qualified to opine what it's like to take something to the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then to have to walk back into the, the facility or the yard with other inmates. But I think, as you were pointing out, and as Tavis has pointed out, I don't know that a RICO case.
Yeah, that was just an overkill. We got about 2 more minutes to go, but look, they just pretty much threw anything at it. It's similar to Bill Cosby. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think Bill Cosby was guilty of it. They were just putting extras on it. I don't want to, I try to stay away from all that when it comes to, because certain people, and I hate to say it, that celebrity worship. You say something bad about a certain celebrity to a certain person, they might, you never know, they may turn on you. You can't talk. I try to just be neutral, but overall, yeah, they definitely.
Let's see, Jesus, Trump, and Diddy. You
can don't say right.
Don't say that. Hey, folks, the phone lines are open. We want to hear from you. 800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. You got Odell in the building. You got James Farr in the building. We're holding it down on First Things First here on KBLA Talk 1580. Dominique DiPrima will be back in the seat tomorrow. Miles Lowe will be in the seat tomorrow. We're holding it down for her. And, this has been such a I've enjoyed the time and working with you, Odell. I mean, you. I ain't gonna tell Miles, but I like you.
No, it's all good.
Miles Lowe is the man. So what we'll do is we'll continue this conversation on the other side when we come forward. News and traffic is up next. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. Pope Leo is offering prayers for the victims of families affected by the flood disaster in Texas. Speaking in English, the pontiff addressed the crowd in St. Peter's Square Sunday.
I would like to express sincere condolences to all the families who have lost loved ones, in particular their daughters who were at summer camp in the disaster caused by the flooding of the Guadalupe River in Texas. We pray for them.
Flash flood struck central Texas in the early hours of July 4th. Today marks 6 months since the start of the deadly Palisades and Eaton fires. Black Mayor Karen Bass says nearly 80% of residential properties that were destroyed in the fires have been cleared of debris. And Universal Music Group launched the Berry Gordy Music Industry Scholarship at UCLA's Herb Alpert School of Music. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was not a good day for both of LA's baseball teams. The Dodgers and Angels were swept in three-game series on Sunday. The Dodgers lost at home to Houston 5-1. They start a six-game road trip tonight at Milwaukee. The Angels fell 3 games below 500 after losing 3-2 at Toronto. The Angels are back home tonight against Texas. The Dodgers will have 3 players in the starting lineup for the All-Star Game July 15th in Atlanta. Catcher Will Smith, first baseman Freddie Freeman, and designated hitter Shohei Ohtani. Clayton Kershaw, who got his 3,000th career strikeout last week, was invited as a Legends pick. Michael Vick will make his coaching debut at HBCU Norfolk State on national TV. ESPN is making plans to televise Norfolk State's season opener against Towson State on Thursday night, August 28th. Kickoff is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember, no warrant, no key, privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. I do not consider myself a fan of Sean Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy Love, Brother Love Combs. But one doesn't have to be a fan to acknowledge a simple truth about his recent jury trial. I think the primary reason he was acquitted of those sex trafficking and RICO charges is because he was overcharged in the first place. Mine is not to opine on his guilt or innocence on any of the charges the feds brought against him. But I predicted months ago that he would beat the most serious charges because, as usual, prosecutors have a really bad habit of overcharging black men. Dave Chappelle said it best, Puffy is in a RICO case all by himself, man. Hilarious and arresting at the same time. When prosecutors put a target on the backs of black men, they throw everything at them just to see what sticks. And too often, just like in the Puffy case at the very end, they move to dismiss some of the charges and then double down on the ones they think they can win. It's racist and it's wrong, and somebody ought to say so. I think I just did. Not for the benefit of Puffy, but on behalf of all the other black men who have been and sadly will be woefully overcharged in the future. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to First Things First. I'm James Farr, and I'm sitting in this morning for Dominique DiPrima. Dominique will be back tomorrow. Her and Miles are just completing their sojourn to the continent. Right now, you got me and Odell. We've been kind of talking around a few things, talking about the Diddy case. Sean Puffy Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy Love. Which one is it?
What is he Love now? I guess that's what he is. But I think his now number is he's a correctional number. That's his.
That's what it is now.
483. I don't know. Yeah.
So you were talking about earlier, folks giving him a round of applause, a standing ovation, right? I mean, obviously, our in jails and prisons are, inhumane, and I don't want to see anybody locked up.
Yeah,
right?
me neither.
Unjustly,
right?
Locked up,
right?
If you bought it, it's yours, and that's what it is. But to Tavis's point, people are too often, black men are over prosecuted. They throw cases at them. To see exactly what will stick, right?
Right.
Does he come back from this? Do you see a career? What does it look like on the other side of this?
I think when it comes to hip hop, he's done. Like, I can't listen to a lot of the Puffy stuff anymore. Like R. Kelly, and I grew up like. Flavor in Your Ear, Project Funk the World, that Craig Mack album, phenomenal. Biggie's first album, phenomenal, right? But there's certain joints that I can't even listen to no more. Hip hop, he's done, my opinion.
Okay, because I'm struggling. You touched on Flavor. I was in Atlanta at Freaknik. I think it was 93, 94.
Right when it dropped?
Right when it dropped, when they brought him out at Piedmont Park, right? I mean, that slapped, right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother discussion. Do we cancel the music? Do we cancel the artists? Because there's so many, I think Mary, Faith, Mace.
Yeah. It's
big, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can separate, just like you can separate the message from the messenger. I think we can separate the music from the musician.
Let's go to a caller. We got a caller on the line. Who we got there?
My name is Jeff Davis. Can you hear me?
We hear you very well, Brother Jeff Davis. What you got on your mind this morning, brother?
Listen, I want to compliment you on the job you've been doing here in Altadena and Pasadena, with keeping us informed on the fires. I understand today is the 6-month anniversary.
Yeah.
And without the voice of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, we'll be in dire straits here in Altadena, Pasadena. So, on behalf of the residents here in Altadena and Pasadena, we just want to say thank you. But I have a couple of statements to make as it relates to Puff Daddy, if you don't mind. Can I have like 30 seconds?
I'm going to give you that. First of all, thank you, brother, for acknowledging and seeing the work that we're doing here at KBLA Talk 1580. And before we get to your comments, remarks, because it sound like you loaded, right? And you ready to fire off. So before we get there,
I'm ready to go, brother.
Were you or your family impacted by the fires in Altadena?
Oh, most definitely. Starting with my daughter, her mom, and her grandma. They lost their property, several friends. I own a real estate and mortgage company. And I put at least 300 families in homes between Altadena and Pasadena over the last 35 years. So I've had a plethora of clients and former clients who have lost properties. And matter of fact, the day that the flames were ensuing, I had the temerity, which is stupid, but I had the temerity to drive up there, up Fair Oaks Avenue. Fair Oaks Avenue, for those who don't know, is the main thoroughfare to get to Altadena as the properties were burning. And it was scary, but I drove by a few of my friends' homes, my former pastor's home, and it was rough. Still is rough.
Well, our hearts are with you, brother. And if there's anything the delegation can do to help you with resources, tap into us. You heard Brandon Lamar on here earlier today. What you got for us on this Puffy case?
Well, I smoke cigars, and so we have cigar conversations. We call it the Cigar Caucus. And I bet a guy $100 cigar, the Puff Daddy, would not be convicted of the most serious charges. So I'm going to roll down to the cigar lounge here in Sherman Oaks and go collect my $100 cigar. But we're gonna puff pass. We're not gonna puff pass my cigar. But I agree with the verdict, man. In fact, I would have loved to have seen Sean Diddy Combs exonerated on all charges. I think he was overcharged. I think the reason why he was charged so harshly was because he is a black role model, someone that's in the industry. And I think the federal government is sending a message to not only black men, but black people in general, that we don't give a darn how much money you have. We can take you down at the drop of a hat. And I think R. Kelly was a commencement of it. But let's take a little bit further than that. This is beyond the incarceration. This is about legacy catalog. I don't know if you remember this or not, but when R. Kelly was found guilty, immediately they began to discuss his catalog, and his catalog diminished in value. And the moment that it diminished in value, you had some sort of group. I don't know if it was a group within the industry, but they came and scooped up his catalog. But they tell us not to support and listen to his music, but at the same time they go through and purchase his catalog. And so I believe the Puff Daddy will come back not only bigger, but he'll come back better. Why? Because he beat the feds at their own game. It's very difficult to beat a RICO charge, and I'm so happy that he was able to do it. And I heard you articulate earlier that they had applauded him in the federal penitentiary. They not only applauded him in the federal penitentiary for winning on those charges, but we're applauding him here in L.A. too as well. Again, I've never met Puff Daddy. I've never been in his presence, but I never like seeing a brother locked up and maligned like that, because he has children, and I feel for quote unquote so-called victims. But I'm glad that he's been exonerated, and I hope that he comes back bigger and better.
Well, Jeff Davis, I appreciate you checking in with us. I'm conflicted, right? I have a daughter, and I heard you mention your daughter. I can't unsee what I saw on that video. Certainly, I don't want to see anybody, as I've said before, any of our brothers overcharged, over prosecuted, and certainly over sentenced. But I just cannot reconcile hands and feet on any woman. Let's go to Annette. Lynette is checking in with us. What you got for us this morning, Lynette?
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I think we live in some very interesting times, and the ironies is, good Lord. But, like it was said earlier, how in the world are we going to have this big, beautiful bill passed, so-called big, beautiful bill passed, and then we got the Diddy trial, which is like the shiny thing. And I'm like, and by the way, the people of, the United States citizens, we United States citizens can actually sue because of the big, beautiful bill violating the Constitution, and that is undermining democracy, according to the Campaign Legal Center. You can go to campaignlegal.org. But they're making it to where they're taking money for voting and everything. And that bill was horrible. Besides the atrocity and the human rights issues, democracy flies in the face of democracy. But anyway, how in the world are we going to have Diddy being charged when Diddy and everybody else is in Hollywood and I could say our government, this is endemical, the power abuse and all this kind of stuff when you really look at it. Because Diddy hung out with, Trump and what's his name, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about.
No, I don't. I wasn't with him. So.
Epstein. She talking about Epstein.
Well, and Trump and
Epstein.
he's 34 counts
Epstein, okay.
guilty. He's the president. And you got that, what's his name, that used to do the human trafficking and found his jail cell dead.
Epstein. You're talking about Epstein.
Epstein. Yeah. And then you had Clyde Davis, and literally, they all hung out together. You have pictures with Diddy, Clyde Davis, Epstein, and Trump and them. They up here, and here it is. Why is it that only Diddy goes to jail? I mean, where is the fairness? I mean, I'm not saying that Diddy is innocent or anything like that, but then you got 34 counts with Trump. Then
Lynette, Lynette, let's not do that, right? We know there has always been a different set of rules, but stay with me, Lynette. We're gonna come forward. Can you stick around? I want to land this in just a second. Kwamel, I see you on the line. We're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. First things first. I'm James Farr. We got your black.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Catch Prep is now enrolling for summer credit recovery in fall 2025. As South Los Angeles' top-performing high school in English, math, and college access, Catch Prep is welcoming all 9th through 12th graders to enroll now. Catch Prep offers a small, supportive, and safe learning environment to help all students succeed, so that all students feel valued, respected, and motivated to reach their full potential. For the past 20 years, Catch Prep has helped more students of color gain admission to top-tier universities, with our graduating seniors earning a total of $3 million in scholarships, more than any other school in Los Angeles. We are dedicated to helping all students turn your college dreams into reality. Catch Prep is now enrolling. Visit us online at catchhighschool.com or call 323-293-3917. Spaces limited. Please enroll now for summer credit recovery and fall 2025. Call 323-293-3917 or enroll today at catchhighschool.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to First Things First. I'm your host, James Farr. I'm in for Dominique DiPrima. Lynette, you was giving us an earful. What you got for us? Land this thing for us so we can keep it moving.
Well, I know that this is endemic, what goes on in Hollywood and Washington, D.C., they mirror each other. And they both are out of control when I look at it in the big picture. But Diddy, and compared to Trump, they all used to hang together, and Trump he got 34 counts, okay? And he gets to be president. He shouldn't be dog catcher right now. In fact, Congressman Al Green has an impeachment that's been going on for about a month. You don't even hear about it as much, but it's still happening. And, it needed to happen a long time ago with Trump. And a lot of these folks that's in power, they needed to be dealt with a long time ago. However, like I said, it just seems like it just, when it comes to, the low level kind of people, they always get the repercussions.
Well, I ain't gonna say you wrong, Lynette. I'm not gonna disagree with you, but I think again, I just don't get into that conversation often or at all, for that matter. When we look at that, when people say, well, if he was black, well, hell, we know what the answer to that is, right? We see that.
But then it didn't got so bad now, and everybody that Trump got, to me, he reminds you of Al Capone. He got the Attorney General, and really they trying to work on disbarring her. And in fact, the Supreme Court justices, they need to be disbarred too, because really it's a criminal organization that he got called in administration, that he got a bunch of Nazis and his criminal organization, and they're putting our country in deep peril. This is where we have to draw the line. Well, it has to be drawn somewhere. This plutocratic
I'm gonna push back a little bit, right? It ain't bad. It is going to get worse, right? So let's, when we look at what we've been through as a culture, as a people, and I'm working on becoming a hope addict and being addicted to hope and having, more importantly, a discipline of hope. I've been called a curmudgeon and a bit cynical. Let's check in with Kwamel. Kwamel, what you got for us this morning?
All right, so before I mess with the Diddy thing, that don't sound right.
Hey, bro. Pause.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, let's pause for that answer. Let's see. Okay, the dang. This might want to call right when you get thrown on the air. But first off, how can we get that pork off your fork, man?
Whose fork you on, brother? Mine?
See, we try to say it though, because you confessed that you said you still eat pig, and I was like, man, hold up, bro. We got to do something about that, man.
I love black women. Does that count? Does that count? I'm married to a black woman.
The two are mutually exclusive, man. Don't do however that term works, but no. That's not even a correlation, man. Don't even try it. But anyways, quick on the Diddy thing, because I got to call that person back. Really, I think hip hop it has shown its unfortunate behind anyway, because they already was on, especially these dudes. They're going to go, oh, Puffy just gay, man. This crowd is being gay. We don't like them gay dudes, man. Oh, my God, he's so weird with those freak-offs. He's just so gay. I see him all over social media, just a bunch of, basically a big bro mentality. So he kind of was, a lot of people just didn't like him to begin with and didn't care for him. Probably even since Biggie rocking, but once the rumors were circulating, they were like, yeah, gay, and they want nothing to do with him. So they actually wanted to see him.
Hold on, Kwame, because I know you ain't made your point, and I'm gonna ask you to park it right.
No, I'm wrapping.
No. Because can you stay with me? I want you to make your point on the other side, but I got to pay a bill real quick, right? I see where you're going with this, right? And a lot of cats. They fell on that opinion, but some cats talk about trains and things that they did. Anyway, that looks shady too, but we're going to continue this on the other side. Is that all right, Kwame? Can you stick around with me? Because I really want to, I enjoy your point, and I want to hear your point. Can you do that?
That kind of was it. I kind of have to go, so I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for your time, though.
I appreciate you, brother. When we come forward, we're going to button this thing up, and appreciate y'all taking this time and sharing this space with me. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, First Things First. I'm James Farr. I'm in for Dominique DiPrima, and we are your ancestors' favorite radio station.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Yep, you're getting back to KBLA Talk 1580, First Things First. I'm James Farr. I'm subbing in today for Dominique DiPrima. Her and Miles will be back tomorrow. Odell and I have been holding it down this last hour. Molly Bell, I see you in the text. Thank you so much for always giving me these big virtual hugs. I see others in the chat as well. No, I'm not cussing on air, although I do speak in cursive sometime, but I can't do that here right now. Quick reminder, I will be on Spectrum News 1 tonight at 7 p.m. Today is the 6-month anniversary. Anniversary sounds celebratory. I'll just call it demarcation of the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire, which claimed 18 lives, devastated a black community. You can hear my weekly program, Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. We are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time with a replay on Sundays at noon. Follow me on social media at James Farr Live. Make sure you downloaded the new KBLA app if you haven't updated it. I've enjoyed my time. Odell, thank you, brother. You've made this a lot easier for me. I know Dominique normally ends the show with a quote, so I will borrow one that I heard recently. If you cannot fix the world, do everything you can do not to, there's an F word that goes in there, up. I'm James Farr. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you. Tavis Smiley is up next. He has an amazing lineup. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio station.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. Pope Leo is offering prayers for the victims of families affected by the flood disaster in Texas. Speaking in English, the pontiff addressed the crowd in St. Peter's Square Sunday.
I would like to express sincere condolences to all the families